Rob.
Womp womp. Happy Sunday night and welcome to the Park Adventurers Club. Thank you guys so much for being with us. We appreciate you. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. It would really be great to have you guys here on the regular, and then also give this video a like as it helps people to find us. And tonight we would like for you to meet this panel of professional Disney people that we put together for you, park enthusiasts if you will, starting with Miss Shannon. How are you?
Hey, I'm stoked to be here. Let's hang 10, Rob.
Okay, because the water park thing. Right, exactly. And Mr. Peter Carney, what is up, sir?
Siva-ko, everyone. It is nice to be back with all of you here on the Park Adventurers Club. I love it. I like adventures too. Yeah,
you do. Adventures by Carney. You know what? Is it really an adventure if Pete didn't come along? I mean, come on. Really? Like, is that a thing? Pete, since it's your first time back since we've reformed the club, a couple things you need to know. Obviously, we're running this like a club. You got Rob's Rules of Order. I've made some edits, so I do have a gavel. If you get unruly, and I mean history says you might, then
that gavel's gonna be working tonight.
Yeah, exactly. So it's gonna be hopping. But we also have an agenda, and so the agenda is as follows, that tonight the reading of the minutes will be the stories from the past week that we have missed along the way since we have last met last Sunday. And then, of course, we'll have our new business, the Orlando Waterparks Breakdown. Should you H2O or no? Tell me, Shannon, is that not, did I hit it? Is it fun?
Yeah,
is that a dad joke, or is it just the best?
Oh, gosh. I defer to the chat.
Okay. All right, so let's start with the old business. As we talked about the reading of the minutes, the monorails have been updated. And for those of you who don't know, the monorail system at Walt Disney World has been around since the dawn of time. Unfortunately, they have not updated anything in forever. It's never been updated to my knowledge. So every time they do say something about, we're going to update the system, I'm like, okay, great, we're finally going to get new monorails. But that is not the case. They are putting glowing logos on the side. That is our upgrade here, is glowing logos on the side. And as a kid, I was a huge monorail fan. I think we all were. You see the monorail, like, can we ride the monorail? That's the cool piece of transportation. Shannon knows I have a Skyliner problem now, and it is not about the monorails for me. But honestly, I would say, Shannon, that they need to be, I don't know, doing something a little bit bigger than just upgrading the sides of the monorails to glow. But what are your thoughts?
Listen, I'm going to take what I can get. When they upgraded the lights on the bottom of the monorail, I love that. And I love this glowing sticker. But is there a little bit of misdirection going on? Probably, because those poor monorails, I mean, we're just slapping Band-Aids on them at this point and trying to distract people from the fact that they're falling apart. So I love it, but they do need some true tender loving care.
Okay. Well, Pete is going to have, I think, a different opinion because he's going to come with some great positive vibes about these lights.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I was talking to a few people about this recently, so I get both sides, I think. But this is just a quick, in Disney terms, a quick refurbishment. This is about a year. They did a lot on the interior. If you watch the ride-throughs that we've been seeing, I've been watching them. I know some people are waiting to do it in person, but they did a lot of good work for a one-year refurb. This is like a brand new attraction. I don't think they took anything away from it. It's the same ride system, same ride track, same path. But I think they did jazz it up. I like what I'm seeing, especially that finale scene before you go outside. Looks awesome. I think they did enough. I don't care. You don't see the side of the car except when you're getting in and out or when it's blaring down the side of you at 65.1 miles per hour. The exterior of the car isn't really doing anything for me anyway. I also think it has to be pretty bland because those show scenes where you see yourself in the changing car, I think it has to be pretty like for the side.
Wait, yeah, I think we were talking about the monorails, not test track.
You know we're talking about Test Track.
No, we're talking about the monorails first. Do you want to change your answers? You're like, what kind of cockamamie meeting is this? We're supposed to be talking about Test Track. No, we start. So basically,
What were you saying earlier? Why did you tell me? Okay.
I was just gonna let it go, but Shannon, she's not gonna put up with that. So she wanted to.
Something.
Oh, monorails? Yeah. I wish we got a lot more. We need a lot more in the monorail department. I don't really am positive, but I actually agree with Shannon. We need more love.
Well, you know what though? A lot of what you said aligns with that conversation, though, because you said we've seen a lot of upgrades in the interior. Yeah, we have. They haven't done anything structural to the outside, but yeah, it fits. It's interchangeable. Roll those comments back when we get to Test Track, and we'll be perfect. We'll be fine. Yeah, exactly. All right, so Shannon, let's go on to the second thing, which, Pete, I feel like this is more your wheelhouse, is the HHN, Halloween Horror Nights is coming. The tickets are already on sale. They're slowly releasing, like, the news about which houses are out, and I think it's interesting that they decided to announce all of the original houses first, because we don't know everything about the IP houses. All the originals are out. Have you seen the list of originals, and is there any of them that you're like, this is exciting? Do you love the originals? Do you love the IP? Tell me everything.
Yeah, I'm an original lover. Honestly, if there was 10 originals and no IP, I'd still be a very happy man. So I'm pumped. I think the originals all sound great. I really have a hard time not liking originals. There's usually like one house per year that doesn't get the love the other 4 originals get, or however many originals, let's say it's half, right? There's always one that's like, all right, that didn't get all the love. But most of the time, they are my favorite house. One of the originals are usually my favorite house. I know the IPs are fun. I know that's like what gets people to come. They see like Stranger Things or The Last of Us. The Weekend house was sick. Yeah, the IPs, I get it. They pay the bills. But I'm a big fan of the originals.
Okay. And Shannon, do you have any thoughts or feelings about HHN? I feel like maybe no.
No. I said my piece about HHN a few episodes back. I will never understand the concept of paying money, yet alone a lot of money, to scare myself. That's
okay.
all I have to say about
for theatrics. I don't get scared of these events. I never jump. I never get scared. I love the production value. And also, I took my brothers there for their first time ever going to Universal. Halloween Harness was my first time ever being in a Universal Park as well. You can also just do the rides and scare zones without any waits, and it's a cheaper ticket than the daytime ticket. So, I mean, you could, a couple of chainsaws here or there. But Lauren's the same way as you. She says, like, she doesn't get it. She went once. She walks in the door and said, I hate this. How can I leave? I just love the production value. I think it's the attention to detail is very beautiful.
Well, let's take a look at the.
I get scared by the super slow ghosts that pop up in the Haunted Mansion.
So this is the lineup of the originals that we have now. So Gulkin, Monsters of the North. I'm probably mispronouncing that correctly. Dolls, Let's Play Dead, Grave of Flesh, Hatchet and Chains, The Demon Bounty Hunters, and then El Arista, A Spanish Haunting. So those are the original houses that have been announced, along with Fallout has been officially announced. Jason has been officially announced, Jason Universe. And then we have an announcement about something having to do with Five Nights at Freddy's. It hasn't officially been announced as a house, just an experience. Pete, any guesses as to what like the other 2 IPs would be? I mean, anything you're hoping for?
There's all these like HHN predictor like sites and Twitter accounts. I follow what they're doing. We got the ones that we're going to predict. There's always like Blumhouse, right? There's always a Blumhouse property. I wouldn't be surprised if they did another take on Stranger Things because they just do that every year. I feel like. And then I guess we'll look at what movies are slated to come out this Halloween. It'll probably be something like that. Universal, if they have a horror movie coming out this Halloween, it's probably be something to do with that as well. We'll see. They did some classics with Jason, and I don't know, but I'm pumped for the Monsters of the North, because that other one, that's going to be a cold house, which is so appreciated in those hot nights. And then that Spanish one, they've had some really good Spanish-themed houses with like the Chupacabra and everything else over the past few years. This is going to be a good one. I'm pumped. El Artista. Oh, I cannot.
Well, before we get off of, I agree with you. The cold house, I'm picturing that like the pier. I forget what the name of that one was, where you walk through and it was cold inside. Yeah. This announcement came as well that Chicago is getting a Horror Unleashed house similar to what we're seeing coming to Las Vegas. So, Shannon, they're doubling down on your opportunities to have a scare of a lifetime. I look at this and I think about when Disney Quest branched out and they had one in Chicago that lasted a little while. Now, obviously, there's a bigger following for HHN than there is for Disney Quest. I would have thought maybe they would have waited until the one in Las Vegas opened up before they said, "Hey, let's just open one in Chicago." Again, Pete, I'm sure that Adventures by Carney will be there in 2027 when this thing opens up. But honestly, are you? What do you think about this? Are you hyped about this one?
Is this going to be a year-round house or a seasonal attraction?
Year-round. Year-round.
Yeah, it's interesting. They're going to have to do something with these that they're doing in Vegas here. Now, I think the idea of HHN actually at Universal Studios could work year-round. I always thought Mardi Gras, like a haunted Mardi Gras, could be cool. And then they do, like, not a whole 10-house production, but, like, 5 houses, do an event at night, and you can still use the Mardi Gras decorations. I think it would work well here because you have Epic Universe. You're going to need to pull people into these parks at night besides just your one big draw of Epic right now. But it's interesting. I don't know of a lot of successful year-round haunted house attractions. They're very few and far between, and many, many try, and few succeed. They're going to have to change these either pretty consistently or really have some incredible production value and then keep the price somewhat affordable for people to visit. Because no one's going to go to the city except for a handful of nuts to try it once. It's going to be tourists vacationing in that city or locals who do it on a weekend. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. All right. So I do want to acknowledge a couple super chats we've had. I see Rosita is in the chat, so I want to throw this out. If you guys can stand by for just 1 second. This is super. There we go. So here's hold, please. I'm a little bit behind on this one. So here's Rosita's super chat. She said, "I want to show the love for this panel and everyone. So fun in the chat. Love this channel and group." Aw, Rosita, thank you so much. We appreciate you. So thank you for that one. And then also we have one from our good friend Jungle Cruiser that says, "The big news is Disneyland just reopened Pixie Hollow and the Enchanted Tiki Room, both where Chef's Kiss meeting Tinkerbell is a treat beyond words." Yeah, we didn't cover that tonight, but I'm glad you brought that up, Jungle Cruiser. I love that little Pixie Hollow situation because I feel like if you're not a regular at that park, you don't necessarily know it's even there. It's so well hidden in the front, but glad you got a chance to do that. And of course, again, thank you so much for the super chats. We appreciate you guys. So let's move on to our next bit, which is the end is near. Man, Magic Kingdom, I almost like did some kind of sensational headline like mess of a kingdom, because this place is going to be, and Pete, you and I talked about this a long time ago when EPCOT shut down, like that whole center area for construction, and then we were like, oh, it's going to be like a year or two, and then like 5 or 6 years later, it was finally opened up again. Magic Kingdom, obviously, we're going to lose the Rivers of America very shortly here. July 6th is their last operating day. We've already seen that they've got basically a permit to demolish Tom Sawyer Island. The riverboat has extended its hours because I'm sure everybody's going to get those last-minute riverboat rides in. And then they've announced, though, that Buzz Lightyear is closing temporarily for some upgrades that we knew were coming. But it seems like with that closed, Big Thunder closed. They're closing Ariel for like a week, which is whatever. And then maybe they're doing some other things to try to like move the capacity. But they opened up Hall of Presidents on the down low.
Watch out.
And their Astro Orbiter. Yeah, well, and the parade, but again, all of these things seem like not enough for how much things are going to be closed. And Shannon, I'll start with you on this one because you and I did a live stream from the riverboat as you mourned the loss of Tom Sawyer Island, meaning you refused to go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think I agree with the fact that this is going to cause huge disruption in Magic Kingdom, because I always feel like Magic Kingdom, there is a ton to do, even if you do have a few major attractions down, as opposed to Epcot or Hollywood Studios, where I'm like finding things to do, more so Hollywood Studios. So I don't know. Do I feel like this could be better timed? Sure, but when we were just there, Rob, I want to say almost every attraction I went on, including Mermaid, including Buzz Lightyear, had shut down almost to the point where we thought we were going to be evac'd. So I don't know if maintenance is just getting a little shoddy, and that's why they need to get to some of these now as opposed to waiting. But I think we'll be all right.
Gotcha. Okay. Pete?
Yeah, going back to Test Track, really pumped. No,
Not yet. Not quite.
I sort of agree with Shannon a little bit. We are very, I don't want to say spoiled, but like it kind of sets the standard Magic Kingdom where it has the most operating things happening at once. I feel like someone who might have brought this up in a meeting was like, "Hey, what if we're shutting down too much?" And they were like, "Do you remember the time we had like 3 rides at Hollywood Studios for a year and a half and nobody cared? Come on, we still have 22 attractions." So, and also what they're shutting down shouldn't be too crazy. Like, well, of course we'll have massive construction walls along the edge. I think that's going to be the more disruption is like you're going to lose so many beautiful sight lines because there's going to be massive construction walls that wrap from the very edge of Haunted Mansion and along that whole queue, then just covering that whole river basically down to the end of Splash Mountain. That's all they need to do. So we're not losing a lot of pathways, which is a good thing. But it's those sight lines are going to be rough for like the next 2-3 years. Because as soon as they finish this land, they're going to do Villains. And what's going to happen to the railroad? Like, it's just so many questions. Those are the more disruptions that we're going to lose. I think probably the railroad again. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think we'll feel it as much ride-wise. I mean, there weren't e-tickets anyway. They're only being popular. They're popular now because they're going away. But Tom Sawyer Island and the Riverboat did not take up a ton of crowd capacity in that park up until this past month.
Yeah.
But they're both great attractions and be very safe they're going. Don't get me wrong.
No, that's fine. Okay. All right. So the last thing, wait a minute. Let me make sure we're at the last thing. I want to be 100% sure that we're ready to talk about this. No, dining app. So the dining app updates. I don't know if you guys have looked into this, the dining app updates, if you guys have jumped into it, but I'm actually a big fan of what they've done. I feel like that the last couple of dining updates have really put us in a better spot when it comes to reserving those dinner reservations, because a lot of times you'd have to kind of like put in the thing you want and then it was like, no, that's not available, try again. And then they opened it up where you could pick multiple days. Now you can pick a whole window. Kind of like when you're trying to get a flight, you pick a whole window. I'm only going to be available from 7 to 9, what's actually there. And then when you go to filter, you can filter by area. So it doesn't only filter by like, you don't have to go in and choose Magic Kingdom and Grand Floridian and, Polynesian, et cetera, et cetera. It'll pick all of those in a grouping for you, which I think is a pretty smart way to do it. I don't know, Pete, have you had a chance to use that tool yet or not? Or do you ever have any problems getting ADRs?
No, I haven't used the new tool yet, but also I don't really have too many issues. Also, I always say have a bunch of travel agents in your pocket, because if I ever really want to get a reservation, I'll just hit up my travel agent friends. But no, I haven't tried it yet. But the fact that the vehicle still goes 65 miles an hour and the new overhang on Test Track is remarkable. Really, really should help with weather and hurricane season.
We're almost there, buddy. I promise. We are almost there. Shannon?
I think this is great for me personally, but something I do question are these businesses that make money off people who are trying to get hard to book reservations. I feel like it makes it easier for these companies. I don't really know how they all work, but it reminds me of the episode of The Office where Dwight Schrute books all the Valentine's Day reservations months in advance and then tries to like sell them to people.
Yeah.
So I think this is a great thing for most people, but as with anything, I think it will be abused somehow.
That doesn't sound right. Why would you assume it would be abused?
I don't
Have
know.
you not seen there's merchandise in the park? It's absolutely mayhem.
What? That can't be right. I don't know. Again, I feel like, yeah, I don't know. I like everything in the app right now with as it goes to dining. There's only one thing still missing, and that's the thing that you can get with like that mouse dining, where you can have it send you alerts when there are openings. I feel like if they could add that, we're going to be good. But for some reason, that's one thing that they haven't added yet. So, all right, let me ask you, Pete. Are you have you seen things about Test Track 3.0? It's out there. People are talking about it. People are riding it. Cast members have started riding it, so we've seen some videos online about it, and we assume there will be
live
AP
video
and
on July 6th. We'll be live from Test Track. That's all I have to say. July 6th. Come watch it on Adventures by Carney. And if you want to know what I think about it, you're going to have to watch this episode from the very beginning. But thanks for tuning in now.
Shannon.
So I originally said Test Track is still boring, huh? But mostly I was judging that based on the queue. Why do they still keep the queue just completely empty with nothing to look at? I don't get it. However, what I did watch a POV today, and it's better than expected. It's definitely better than Test Track 2.0, but at this rate, I don't think anything's going to be better than Test Track 1.0, especially that queue that was chef's kiss. So.
Well, I mean, it's fun to be free has been added to it, which I think they knew ahead of time that they were going to give some throws to the original attraction that lived in Test Track, which was World of Motion. So we've got that. And then we also have this new window where you can see the cars, which is kind of cool, but it's not as cool as it used to be back in the day. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but I remember this, is that when World of Motion was there, that you would load inside and then the cars would come outside the building and then go back in, and then you would have your experience. And that was kind of a cool thing. But I mean, it does go outside. It just goes out the back now. So I don't know. I think we need to.
They should cover that. The fact that that ride goes down for lightning in Florida just blows my mind. Like, how do you not put some kind of awning or something over that where you could run that in rain and weather? It's Orlando, and it's one of your biggest draws. And I mean, Guardians is doing its job, but once this reopens, Test Track will be just as popular as ever. It's going to be a disaster with this. It's rainy season. Welcome to rainy season. This is going to be rough for Test Track lovers this summer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did hear it rains a little bit in Florida, so that's definitely a thing. All right, well, let's close out our old business. We're going to close it out, and we'll move on to our new business, which is the conversation that we're here to have tonight, the question that we're asking tonight. And again, I feel like I've said this expertly here. Waterparks H2O or no? And basically, I think the question is, when you go on vacation, you have a finite amount of time. Now, obviously, Pete lives there. And when I say there, he lives in EPCOT. He's actually got a place inside the walls of EPCOT, so he lives there. But when you are not a local and you're choosing your days to come down there, you got to be careful with like making sure you're covering it all. Like there's a new parade at Magic Kingdom or there's a festival at Epcot, and how do we balance all of that? And so for me personally, I've never been the go to the pool guy or go to the water parks guy, and that probably is a mistake because it is hot in Orlando. So you might want to find something that would help you cool off, which would be that kind of an experience. So what I want to talk about here is first the history of the water parks that are in Orlando, and then we'll talk a little bit about what's there now, and then we'll kind of come to our final decision about what is the right thing for you to do. But I want to start with Pete first, because I feel like you've been to most of these, and just get an overall opinion from you about water parks. Before you moved there, how did you feel about them, and now that you live there, how do you feel about water parks?
All right, so before I moved here, well, one, I would definitely have taken advantage. I like they're doing like that same day check-in. You get a water park ticket, because I know we used to on a check-in day before we were pass holders, like having a half day or some time where you can go to a water park on your check-in day. I think is fantastic for resort guests. We used to. I mean, again, before I moved down here, I was mostly doing quick trips, like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe like a 4-day. So at most 3 nights. Probably for the last no more than 3 nights almost ever, except for when I was a child, I think, which was one time. So not a lot of time for water parks. I did go maybe once or twice for special occasions. One thing we did do is when we used to fly down is we do the water park events, like H2O Glow we did before we moved here. And then we've loved it since we moved here. So then moving to when we've been here, I love the water parks, especially because Typhoon Lagoon is technically the closest park to my home. I think it's less than a 5K away if I mapped it out. So yeah, if I don't want to walk down to my pool, or if I want to mix it up, or I know friends are there, hey, I've done lunches there where we'll go meet up with somebody, do like a lap on the lazy river, hop back in the car, shower, go back to work or home. I love the water parks as a local, and I think a lot of locals do. I do think it is tough to make time near vacation, but if you're doing a longer trip and you do like once in a while, not as often as I was coming down, let's say you're doing it a full week. A water park day is a great day, in my opinion. I think Disney's got great water parks. I love Typhoon Lagoon. If you have more adventurous, I mean, they're both great, but I'd say Blizzard Beach is more family friendly, in my opinion. I don't know, they're both great. And H2O Glow is a great event, but rent a cabana and invite me. I think you're muted, Rob.
Yep. Well, you know what? I'm just trying to do stuff while we're doing stuff. It's fine. We're all good. Shannon, same question to you. What's your plan when it comes to water parks? Do you throw one in every now and then, or do you make sure to do it? How does this rate for you?
No, similar to Pete, if I have a long trip, then I definitely throw in a water park day. If it's a short trip, usually not. However, I caveat that because recently I went on a super short trip. I think it was 2 nights. 2 nights, yeah. And I had a friend come with me who didn't want to spend a lot of money on park tickets. So I figured we'll take advantage of that free water park day on your check-in day. Personally, I hated that. It didn't work out for me because normally I rope drop the water parks. I spend no more than 2 hours there. So that's the thing. I think however long your trip is, if it's something that you like and enjoy and want to try out, you don't need to dedicate an entire day to a water park. You can go there, do one of everything, and leave within 2 hours, and it'll be fine. I just didn't like the day of check-in because by the time we got there, it was already pretty crowded. And then when it was time to go, which was around dinner time, my plan was to just shower off, put a little makeup on, and get dinner at Springs. The bathrooms, the changing areas was absolute chaos. There was no shower available, nothing.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing that concern that
much nicer locker rooms than any deluxe resort.
Which one?
You go to any deluxe resort, use their locker rooms. Little pro tip: all the deluxe resorts have beautiful locker rooms.
Tell them Pete sent you. A
different Pete.
A different, not you. But I was going to say that was the thing when they threw this perk out there. I was like, well, that's not really a perk. You're just making it like putting it out there for show. Because if I get there on my first day, usually when I fly in on my first day, I'm going to fly in later because I don't want to waste the day. So I'm going to fly in later so the next day I'm ready to go. Or I'm driving in, I can't get there early enough, and so the park closes at 6, so I've already missed that perk. Or, if you get in and your room's not ready yet, and there's what do you do with your luggage? And like you said, changing out is a problem. And if you can't get to a nice deluxe resort, then is that a problem? So I feel like they've given you a little bit of a chore, but I wish. Here's what okay, hold on. Here's what I wish they would do is just give you a credit on your ticket so you could go anytime you want. But you tell me what you wanted to say, Pete.
No, I was just saying you got to plan ahead. If you know you're coming in, I mean, yes, for you it doesn't make sense to someone who comes in at night. But I know a lot of people come in the morning, and they'll either make that like their Disney Springs day, or they'll make it a resort hopping day. So to have this as another option for those who land early, especially those who come in between 6 and noon. And if you know you're going to go to the water park, now that you know this is a perk, hopefully you've done planning, have a bathing suit in your carry-on. And you can drop your bags at the resort. It's there when you come back. But you got to plan ahead. But I don't know. Putting a credit on putting the credit for any day, I think might exhaust the theme parks. I don't know if they're ready because that's gonna be a lot of capacity. But just telling people they're gonna go for a few hours in the afternoon, hoping that a lot of people are coming at night like yourself, doesn't kill the capacity. But it still looks like Disney's making this grand gesture, which some are taking advantage of and they feel good about.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let's roll back the clock because I'm pretty sure y'all are much younger than I am, and you probably don't remember River Country. Which my favorite thing about River Country was riding the monorail and hearing the spieler say, "Off to your left is Bay Lake," including River Country, Disney's version of an old-fashioned swimming hole. I missed that in the spiel on the monorail. I did go to River Country. We also reviewed a long time ago from Disney Plus. They had the Mouseketeers go to Walt Disney World, and they went to River Country and sang a song about it. So if that's still on Disney Plus, definitely something that you should take advantage of. Now, obviously, a lot of people are concerned about the fact they were brain-eating amoebas, but I mean, you know what? No risk, no reward. I mean, if you want, go, and if you don't, But for those of you who don't know, River Country was the first water park that Disney had. It was in 1976 that it opened, actually June of 1976. It closed in November of 2001. But they didn't officially close it until 2025. And if you look at like online, you can see these videos that people took where they snuck on the grounds and shot video that made it look like it was people ran off from a zombie apocalypse or something. There were like towels and plates and things,
like
just
Jurassic
everything.
Park.
Yeah, exactly. It was all just exactly in place. The capacity was 4,000. The capacity was 4,000 people. The ticket price was $15.95 when the park closed, and they had 12 attractions. The signature attraction was Slippery Slide Falls, which sounds like an insurance nightmare. Pete, what do you know of River Country?
I know I drive past it on ferries all the time, but I never got to experience it. Yeah, I heard that whole place was in black and white. I don't know.
Yeah, it was. It was.
It's cool. I think that's more old school Disney. That's like I love how close it is to Fort Wilderness, and that's why I have more mixed feelings about that hotel. Because to me, Fort Wilderness is that old school Disney, that old vibe, that nostalgia. They obviously had to close this, and probably eventually would have anyway, because having an attraction that only 4,000 people could do, that involves taking a ferry and tickets for its own day, would be drastically overcrowded. Especially the projections Disney's putting out of having over the next 10 years, 400,000 people a day here at Walt Disney World. Where are you going to put 4,000 people on one island? Plus, a lot of these rides, and you can see that wave pool, ran into Bay Lake where those brain-eating amoebas were. So, like, not the best look. But it's fun. I like the lore of it. I think it's fun Disney nostalgia. I think it's really cool to say you've been, because a lot of people won't be able to say that.
Yeah, and I remember that when they were talking about putting the reflections on this area, I know our friend Ben was very upset because he thought that's on like the grave of River Country. But I mean, they need to do something. They can't just like put another water park here. That's like making Jurassic World on top of Jurassic Park. Like, you don't do that. That people are like, oh, is that the one with the brain-eating amoebas? No, you don't do that. But for those of you who don't know, they've paved this over and they're building Lakeside Lodge on this one. But thoughts on this one before we move on, Shannon? Anything that you want to share? Thoughts?
Well, I mean, I think River Country has something that both Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach have, which is really great theming. And it's part of the reason why I love the Disney water park so much. So I understand why it closed, but it's kind of sad to see it go because like Pete said, I think it really fit into the theme and vibe of that area, Fort Wilderness, campgrounds, the lodge. So it's always rough to get good a Disney themed area gone.
And I think they don't really talk about this one much, maybe again because of the issues that were around it. Like, I don't see a lot of like celebration of remember when like we see for some other things. But I definitely the other thing, Pete, you were talking about capacity of this one being low, is at that time Discovery Island was open as well, so you could do either of these. And when they were talk water parks and more, like these were additional things you could put on. But like I said, the ticket price, and again, this is just research that I've done, the ticket price was $15.95 when it closed. The next one I want to talk about is Wet n Wild. That was another one, Wet n Wild, that was off of iDrive. It was Wet n Wild Orlando. That was originally owned by SeaWorld. Universal bought it in 1998, and then eventually, when they built Volcano Bay, they paved this over and built a hotel on the property that had Wet n Wild. But their numbers, they opened up in 1977, less than a year after River Country. Copycats, what? And then they closed in January of 2017, so not that long ago. Maybe Pete Carney went to this one. I don't know. We'll find out in a second. $39.99 was the ticket price when they closed. 17 attractions were listed. It didn't really say if they had a signature attraction or any upsells. Pete, did you ever go to this one?
I did not. I saw them taking it apart. That was
close enough.
I literally remember driving down I-4 and being like, "What's that? I don't even know what that is." And they're like, "That used to be Wet n Wild. It's not anymore." It's like, "Oh, okay." No, yeah. My first Universal park ever was probably 16. It was maybe my 2015 or 2016, my very first time being in any Universal park, and it was the Halloween Horror Nights. I really wanted to go as a kid, but we did one trip ever, and it was just Disney in that bubble. But I'm sure with this current generation, and more families are going to be doing both parks now that with Epic, and now that there's no Magical Express, people are going. I remember taking the Magical Express, so that doesn't exist. So my family, I'm sure, would have done it now if I could turn back. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. That's all right. This is what this piece of property looked like. So obviously there was a lot of land to be able to build the endless summer resort on top of it. Shannon, any memories, thoughts of this Wet and Wild or any of the others that existed?
No, so I do not do other water parks.
Oh, excuse me. I apologize. I'm sorry.
I think there are water parks. There are water parks, and then there's Disney water parks. The same with cruise lines. I think there's cruise line people, and then there's Disney cruise line people, and very rarely are they one and the same.
Okay. Well, I will tell you this, that I used to hate water parks for a bunch of reasons, and I'll list some of them off for you right now. There was a water park in right outside of DC I used to go to. It's called Wild World. It is then turned into Six Flags Great America, which is now, this is its last summer, and then it's closed. So a lot of those water park adventures still existed there, but didn't love the idea of running around just without a shirt on. That was a weird thing. Didn't love the body-to-body lines up those like staircases. That was not a lot of fun. The heat, the concrete, not ever not lava. It was always, the concrete was always lava. So you wanted to walk where there was already water, and then they were always leaking somehow. Somehow they were always leaking everywhere. So I was not a huge fan. But then Disney water parks, to your point, came along, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of into this. There's like little places, shaded places to sit and hang out. They've got food. They've got the wave pool, the cool slides, and I felt like it was a better experience after that for me to be able to go to a water park. But just saying. Let's talk about the other ones. So Typhoon Lagoon came along in June of 1989.
Woo!
Yeah, how about that? Capacity, as far as I can tell, is 7,200. And then the ticket price I've listed here. So it's either free, because, again, if you're staying on grounds, you get that free day, or $74.99 to get in, or you have the park hopper and more option that you can do and add on to your vacation to be able to go. So I feel like if you're an AP, or if you are staying on grounds and you get that free ticket, I feel like you can't not get a discount somehow, somewhere. So I don't know who's paying that $74.99 specifically, but that's how much a ticket to a Disney water park costs if you buy that. Couldn't find out number of attractions, but as far as signature attractions, I think Humunga Cowabunga, which some of our people in our pack mentioned, isn't that the wedgie one? Yeah, that's the wedgie one. And then also my favorite, which is Misadventure Falls, which is unique to me for some reason, a couple reasons. One is it's newer than most of them, and so they built this new attraction, which we don't hear about. We hear about the theme parks getting new attractions all the time, but we don't usually hear about a lot of new things coming. So, I like that one. And then the other thing that I think is a downside here is that they removed the Shark Reef before I ever went. So I never got to see what that was like. But they do, as far as upgrades, they do, Pete mentioned it earlier, H2O Glow Nights, which is a hard ticket event where you can go at night and hang out with, meet characters and their DJs and food. There's the Beachcomber Shacks, which is the equivalent of like a cabana that you can rent. And then they also do surfing lessons. So Pete, tell me a little bit about your experiences with Typhoon Lagoon and what you love about it.
I love Typhoon Lagoon. It was also the water park we went to as a kid, so I think that is another reason why I love it so much. Also, Miss Tilly, one of the most iconic, I would call it a weenie because that's what they call it in Disney parks, but your eyes are just always drawn to it. Great spot when you walk in and then take that picture. Yeah, I never got to see the Shark Reef either. They got rid of it literally right before I moved here. But I love, like I said, I love H2O Glow Nights. I think another just pro tip, if you can get a larger group or you already have a large group, getting those cabanas or whatever they call them, if you split it among 10 people or whatever it is, it's very, very small, but you have your own lockers, your own refrigerator. I think some of them have TVs. They're gated off. You have your own little private security. And also you get a server. So if you're hey, we want 4 orders of chicken tenders and 4 beers in about 30 minutes when we come back, they'll time it out and get it for you. And they do it for special events too. At H2O Glow, a bunch of people who are here in the chat, I think, we're part of we rented out a couple of these cabana things. They're great. The ticketed events are great. $75 a day is kind of nuts because you pay $100 if you're an annual pass to add it, and you get it's theme. water parks and sports. So you get like the round of 9-hole golf, you get mini golf, and you get all the water parks year round for $100. So paying the 75 for one day plus the H2O Glow, I think is 85. So for $10 more, you can go to a private ticket event with DJs, all the characters dancing, no lines for any attractions, unless it's like the first week or the last week of that event. That's my caveat. I don't know. I'm a big fan of Typhoon Lagoon, but I get it.
Okay.
If you're on a tight window at Disney, I get how it could be something that you might have to skip.
Yeah, you got that Beachcomber Shack. Okay. Shannon, I assume if you go to, you have to get the Beachcomber Shack. Like, I assume you need to be treated to the finer things in life.
Never. Like I said, I'm in and out 2 hours. I'm going to do all the things that I want to do. I don't like the body slides because personally I'm too old and it really hurts. But I like the other variety. Crush and Gusher is a great water coaster.
So much fun.
And Typhoon Lagoon is my go-to because the theming is top-notch. The storytelling begins immediately when you turn into, like, off the main road and you see these little signs. They're really fun to read, and it tells the story of how Typhoon Lagoon came to be. But the one thing I will warn you is that wave pool is very strong. I have been a victim of scraping my knees on that concrete bottom, so be careful, especially if you have little ones. And the Lazy River is top tier. It is mostly shaded, lots of foliage that is tropical themed. So that's my happy place. I love Typhoon and highly recommend it.
What about the food?
The food is good, actually. My friend who came with me, who's really never been to Disney parks, we had lunch at Typhoon, and she was like, "Oh, this is a pretty good salad." Food is not terrible there for quick service.
All right. Yeah. You know what? Honestly, again, I like Typhoon Lagoon a lot. The next one that opened up was in March of 2008. And this is kind of an outlier because I threw this one in, which is Aquatica, which is the SeaWorld water park, which I sleep on SeaWorld. I don't pay too much attention to SeaWorld. That's not usually on my list of things to do when I go down there, is to go to SeaWorld or Aquatica. And I know they also have that extra experience called Discovery Cove. But I've never been to this one. Pete, I'm hoping you have, or have you not?
I have. And also, I think a lot of people sleep on SeaWorld. I get it. People have very strong opinions because there's been some crazy stuff out there. And I'm not saying, I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know. There's been stuff on both sides. But I do think, as someone who's gone to the SeaWorld parks, like, they're trying their best to move away from all that. Like, they're adding a new coaster and attraction every single year that's not related to live animals. And also they're really affordable for a lot of people, especially if you're a local. All teachers, if you live in Florida, get to go in for free, which is great. Lauren's a teacher, and that's year round. There's no blackout dates, for free for just any teacher in Florida, which is kind of neat. And their annual passes, typically most of them are less than 1 day at the Magic Kingdom for the entire year at SeaWorld, and that's including Aquatica on some passes. So going back to your question, I've been to Aquatica. Yeah, I went once. Sad day for me. When we got inside, we met up with people. We kind of did the wave pool, grabbed some drinks, and then there was just a downpour that would not let up, and they wouldn't reopen rides. So after about 4 hours of waiting, we kind of just called it a day to get another ticket to come back, and we never went back. But this summer, Allie Isham, who you know, and I are committed to trying out their nighttime events. We're going to go try out their Aqua Glow event.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that. So they do have a nighttime event, the Aqua Glow event. So you've got something like H2O Glow has paved the way for these to happen at not only Aquatica, but Volcano Bay, which we'll talk about later too, that nighttime idea, which is kind of cool actually, because most of these parks close about 6 o'clock in the afternoon when it stops being like super warm. But, you know, there's an opportunity to go and hang out late at night at these places. And I think it's an untapped resource for them in these water parks. So definitely that. And Shannon, have you been to Aquatica or
No.
No. Do you have thoughts on Aquatica?
Nope.
Okay.
It's one and the same for me.
Okay.
It is still 85 to 90 degrees up until 10 p.m. during July and August. So it's not like it's cold outside at night during July and August. It is still 90 degrees until 10 p.m.
Could we pump it to 98 degrees?
Oh snap! Baby, to you, all I am is the Invisible Man. All
right. Let's move on. So again, trying to do them in that one was open in March of 2008. So I've gone out of order here. Blizzard Beach actually opened before this. Weirdly, on April Fool's Day. I wouldn't think that a business should open on April Fool's Day, but April 1st, 1995. But it kind of fits. It kind of fits because this was, the whole theme of this one is it was a snowstorm. It was a freak snowstorm that came to.
It was a ski resort until July, until April 2nd.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's so. Yeah, so I couldn't find a capacity, but I think it's about the same as Typhoon Lagoon, which is about 12,000. Pricing same as it's free for people who are checking in, but $74.99. It's listed as 12 attractions. I would say Summit Plummet is probably the biggest one. They don't do a nighttime thing, but they, like the Beachcomber Shacks, they have the polar patios, and then they also have the Winter Summerland miniature golf outside of it. So, Shannon, you've been to this one, I assume, yeah?
I have. Actually, this is the water park that we went to as a family when I was younger, and I enjoyed it then. But to be honest with you, I haven't gone back as an adult because I don't find there to be enough shade there. And as I get older, I am looking for more shade. But lots of fun, especially for families and little kids. Again, has great variety like Typhoon. So body slides as well as tube rides. So little fun for everything, a little bit of everything for everyone.
Yeah. All right. Well, Pete, where does this one fall for you?
Blizzard's fine. It's fun. I like to go twice a year, and it's close to my house. I don't know. I'm a Typhoon guy. It's still I honestly like their wave pool, just kind of like bobbing water. It's filled with a lot of families, so I'm just always afraid I'm gonna elbow a child. So I like Typhoon because you can go deep enough and no one's out there. You're home free. Yeah, it's a fun park though. It's a cool little theme. I think it's worth checking out at least once. It's a cool concept. Yeah.
So we don't count the miniature golf as part of this, right? Like that's not a thing. Just because you can park in the same space and walk over to the play miniature golf and never go into the park, it's not included in there.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's
to take mini golf there, and you could use it even when the park is closed. I mean, it's open year round.
Yeah, that's another thing that we haven't really talked about is that right now, both of these parks, Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach, are open together for the first time since COVID. So we've been in a situation for a while where it was like one would close and the other one would open up and then that one would open back and forth. So it's nice that they're both open right now. And maybe, Pete, to your point about capacity earlier, that's part of because of this deal that they're running and trying to make sure that they're open for people to go to when they come in. So, so that's Blizzard Beach, and again, that was 1995. So 89 was Typhoon, 95 was Blizzard Beach, and then, like we said, 2001 is when they closed River Country. So there was a brief amount of time, 6 years, where they had 3 water parks at Disney, but the River Country was never going to be as amazing as these other 2 parks that they put together, so it probably is for the best that they shut that one down. 2008 is when they opened up Aquatica, and then in 2017, it's hard to believe it was only 2017, that Universal opened up Volcano Bay, right over near their theme parks on the North Campus. So I will have to say and admit openly I've not been to Volcano Bay because if I'm fitting in extra theme park stuff, I'm going to Universal, I'm going to Universal Studios, to Epic, wherever. So I haven't been, but Pete, I'm pretty sure you've been to this one too.
This is kind of crazy. I have not been to Volcano Bay. I've made a few.
Wow.
There's been a few days where I had plans to go and it got rained out, or someone said, "No, it's too crowded. Don't come today." But I just never. Again, having Typhoon be a 7-minute ride from my house, where I could just go pop in, do one lap around the lazy river, come back home in under a half an hour. I just never added the 3-park ticket for Universal 2. I just thought the price jump was too much compared to Disney, where you get it for $100. Universal, I don't know. The 3-park was just too much. This is before Epic. So I always just did the 2-park ticket, and I don't know. A lot of people tell me, this is what I've heard from a lot of people, that Volcano Bay is the best water park when it's empty, but the worst water park when it's crowded. So I just don't know the right time to go to that. I do think they have a nighttime event too. Maybe I'll check it out then.
Yeah. Yep. No, they do have a nighttime, and they, of course, have the cabanas, and then they had the Tapu Tapu band, which would let you make reservations, and they're getting rid of that system, which I think a lot of people who
they are?
Yeah, who love Volcano Bay are like, this is why I love Volcano Bay, is to make that reservation. So as I mentioned before, you don't wait in line with 900 people for this. But I I don't love water parks enough to commit a day to this one, and normally I'm staying at Disney. So, and you have thoughts on this one? I know you haven't been, Shannon, but do you have thoughts on the Volcano Bay? Is this one ever going to be in your purview?
People have tried to convince me. People have told me that it is better than the Disney water parks. And maybe that's true, maybe it's not. But kind of similar to Pete, I don't live right near Typhoon Lagoon. However, I'm usually staying at a resort on Disney property. When I leave Typhoon, I'm typically still in my wet bathing suit. I just hop on a bus and I'm back in my resort. If I'm never going to stay, like I'm not going to want to get in a 30-minute Uber ride from Volcano Bay back to my Disney resort. So I think the only time I would ever go to Volcano Bay is if I were to stay somewhere near Universal or one of the Universal resorts, which I do not foresee happening anytime soon.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm looking at the chat and I'm seeing that Spin the Compass has said I paid an extra $100 to add it to my 2-park ticket, and then also Volcano Bay is my number 2 water park. Typhoon is still number 1, is what Fire Chief said. And Alicia said every time I've been to Volcano Bay, it's been overcrowded. So again, that's not a problem that I feel like I've run into at Typhoon or at Blizzard Beach, that I feel like I'm tripping over people. Maybe at Moonlight Magic, which is the DVC equivalent of H2O Glow. Maybe that time it was a little bit more crowded than I wished it was, especially for a private event. But I asked our PAC, which is our Patreon. You can find out more at patreon.com/GoPAC, PAC. I asked them the question, Orlando Water Parks thoughts, best, worst, always or never. And then Bucky said Blizzard Beach number 1, Typhoon Lagoon number 2, then Discovery Cove, which is not really a water park, I don't think, but it kind of is, right? Because you're swimming with the dolphins and that kind of a thing. He said it could be hit or miss. But just getting back from Blizzard Beach a few days ago, I got to go to Typhoon Lagoon with number 1. I've got to go with Typhoon Lagoon number 1, Blizzard 2 for now. So Jayware said, we're taking advantage of the offer they're doing. I think that since we're doing a split stay, we get to go to both maybe. Should be interesting. And we're driving. I'm about that 2 days or 3 bus life to get to the water park. So honestly, we just did that. We had to stay in one place for one night and then move to another place on our last trip. And of course, we got that perk for both hotels, both resorts.
Allow that? What a hack.
Yeah.
Park hop. Resort hop for an extra water park every day.
Well, but the good news about that one is that when you go to do that, when you go to check in, on the first day, like I said, I don't have the time, but with that second day, you can send your luggage over to your other hotel and go ahead and go to the parks. And then when you're done, you come back to your other hotel, your luggage is there and you can change out. So I feel like that it should be the second day that you get to do that. But I appreciate you guys giving us that feedback. Although again, I asked them. Great number 8 said whichever one gives you that atomic wedgie, which again was Typhoon Lagoon. One problem that I do have with Typhoon Lagoon, and I feel like I'm the only person that has this problem with it, is that there's a place at Typhoon Lagoon called Ketchikiddee Creek, which I feel like this shouldn't be the name of it.
I think it's funny.
Same thing.
I don't think it should be the name of that, Shannon. I don't know. Maybe your thoughts on that will change a little bit.
But it's like when a kid is coming down the slide and you're waiting to catch them.
Sure. To catch a predator. Got it. Great. All right. So let me ask you this, though, and I'll start with you on this one, Shannon. Disney resorts have amazing pools, and some of them, Stormalong Bay, which is your favorite, it almost feels like a water park. So with those amenities, do you feel like maybe you would just be okay going to the resort pool instead of adding that extra day?
No, Stormalong Bay is elite, but I spend a lot of time there, and sometimes it's nice to have something different. Now, what I will say, and I don't know if you had mentioned this somewhere along the line, something that Disney has done in recent years, which really grinds my gears, is that the bus doesn't take you there direct anymore. They make you transfer. So, for example, for Typhoon Lagoon, if I were to get on the bus at the Yacht Club, I have to actually get off at Disney Springs and get on another bus. Now, there was a time when they flipped back to a direct route, but I think more recently, again, it was that transfer nonsense. So that puts a little, wrench in the plan. But yeah, the resort pools are great. I do take advantage of them often, but Typhoon Lagoon is just elite, and it's a world of its own. So I think it needs to be experienced as well.
Okay.
I didn't know about the transfer. That's rough.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Pete, hold on. Hold on. I got this. This is going to work. What the hey? Let me go back to... Nope. This is fun. All right. This is really fun. What have I done? Oh, I know what I did. There we are. Okay. And we're back. Isn't that great?
3 on there twice.
On purpose. I'll tell you why in a second. So Pete, same question to you though about the resorts is I'm sure you've visited almost all of them at least at this point, right? And so a day at the pool, is that not as good? Completely different?
It really depends on your resort and also if you are confident in your resort hopping skills. I'd say, people don't have the water park ticket and they want to do a day at Disney. I'll tell them all the time, like, hey, go, where are you staying? First of all, like, hey, do they have a cool pool? Let's go do a pool day there. It's great. Or are you near another resort where you could go do that? Like if you're on the or like let's say the Skyliner, if I consider that I now can use all the pools on the Skyliner. It's just me. And there's certain pools that don't require a magic band to get in too. You can just go use them. You just open the gate and walk in. There's no signs that you can't. So yeah, there's a lot of great resort pools. I think it depends on where you're staying too. Some pools you may want to go do that. And like Shannon was saying, Typhoon is so cool and so unique. And you can see everyone listing their favorites. A lot of people saying Typhoon is still number 1 over all these other water parks. So it might be worth spending a little bit more time, getting there and coming back to experience an entire new park. But there's a lot of great resort pools at Walt Disney World.
Gotcha.
Check them out.
All right, lightning round here. Shannon, is there a water park anywhere else in the world that you like better than the Disney water parks?
No, absolutely not. And I have been to a few other ones. I actually live not far from a Hurricane Harbor, which is our Six Flags water park, and other little local water parks. But no, I don't go to them. Yucky.
Okay. And Pete, how about you? Like Great Wolf Lodge? I don't know. Those are pretty nice.
Mention and a shout out to Splish Splash on Long Island, out in Riverhead. It's a great place. A lot of childhood memories, but no. In my opinion, Typhoon is the best water park I've ever been to.
Okay. All right. So then
Shannon was right about Stormalong Bay. That should not count as a normal theme park pool. That's its own thing. Also, it's the only pool where they'll give you a wristband to get in and out of anywhere on Disney property. You need to show a room key and get wristbanded because it's that popular.
It's harder to get into than to get your AP magnet, is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you have to have 6 forms of ID, have a real new ID from the airport. Yeah, it's use facial recognition. Yeah, it's
passport,
nuts.
All that stuff. Cool. Anything else you want to say on water parks from either of you before we move on to our final thoughts on it? You guys good? We talked enough about everything. We talked about the history of them. We talked about all of the benefits, I think, of each one and all the things that are there. So,
you get free towels too, by the way.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, what was that a DVC only at one point, and now they've changed that, or?
It was a Disney Resorts only, and now it's anyone who goes in.
Gotcha. I don't think they policed that very well, by the way. I think that pretty much you could go, hey, yeah, I'm at Yacht. Okay, cool. Here's 10 towels. I mean, it's not like anybody was going to steal them or anything. They just wanted to use them and not walk around soaking wet. That's fine. Awesome. All right, so we're going to get to the final thoughts and answer this final question as a quorum here. But before we do, something that I accidentally showed more than I should have. But thank you to our Patreon, our pack. We appreciate the pack. Thank you guys so much for being members. We appreciate you. And as you can see, there's our Zebra Mezzanine and Treasure Room supporters. And as I mentioned, or as Pete mentioned, Eggs is in there. Egg663 is in there twice because we left him off for a little while, and I'm trying to make good by listing him twice. He said that's okay.
Shout out to Egg663.
There you go. And then also, just to let you guys know what's coming up on the channel, last week we did a review of Jurassic Park. Check that out with Stephanie and I did that. And then Friday night we had a trivia night where my son hosts a trivia show called Hakuna Trivia. We had 3 contestants playing against the chat. It was a lot of fun. You can go back and watch it and see which ones you can answer. Tonight is where you are right now, the Park Adventures Club. And then Wednesday night, Patrick and Ron will be on reviewing Rogue One, or as I like to call it, the Andor sequel. But anyway, Pete, before we go, I know that you've got a lot going on in your channel. Tell everybody a little bit about that.
Sure. For those who don't know, Adventure by Carney, you've heard me talk that I live very close to the theme parks, just up the road from Universal, SeaWorld, and Disney. Also, we're doing cruises, so we're going to be putting out cruise content. Very exciting time. I just announced last week on our live streams. I do live streams, shorts, regular edited videos. But for July, we're going to be putting out new content every single day. So go check it out, like, subscribe, ring that bell, turn on all notifications. Do it here for Park Adventures Club, and then go check out Adventures by Carney. For July, there'll be either a new video, a live stream, or short every single day.
Awesome. Well, man, it's so awesome to have you on anytime that you're available. I know you're a busy man, so thank you for being here. And Shannon, thank you so much for everything you do. Shannon has actually got her own show called The Happiest Days, and she's always doing research, she's calling it, to go and make another trip down to the parks to just be, she does it for you. She does it for you to find out what the hotels are like. She's she's just taking one for the team, I guess. So the question before you tonight, Park Adventures, is water parks, H2O or no? And to be more specific, do you recommend that you spend a little more time at the water parks when you go, or should you just skip it and do everything else that's available? I'm going to ask Shannon first. What say you? How vote ye on this one?
I vote yay, H2O. A salute to all Disney water parks, but mostly Typhoon Lagoon. I think you do. I think you should make time for it if that is your thing. If you enjoy pools and even I'm not going to say water parks. I'm not going to. If you're someone on the outside who's like, "Oh, water parks are gross," like I'm not about it. Trust me on this. I'm with you, and these are worth it. And like I had mentioned before, you do not need to sacrifice an entire park day. Typhoon Lagoon opens at 10, so you can hop in there until noon and leave at lunch, and you can still have the whole rest of your day for a theme park. So go for it.
All right. So there's one yes from Shannon. Pete?
I don't know if this is cheating. You can let me know, but I'm a yay and a nay, because I would say if you're doing 4 or more days, then I would definitely go check out the water parks. If you're doing 3 or less, I can understand doing it like on every other trip or every third trip, because I know there's just so much to do at Walt Disney World. But if you can and you come here often or you haven't done it yet, I would agree with Shannon that it's worth checking out at least once. The water parks are great. They were designed by the same amazing Disney Imagineers that designed the other parks we enjoy so much. So I think it's worth checking out. And if you don't want to wait and you want to pay just about the same as a ticket, I really love the H2O Glow events. It's like $10 more than a one-day ticket. You got DJs, you got characters that are just wandering around. You can get pictures with them all throughout the night. And I've never waited for a ride, again, except for the first and last event of the year. Besides that, it's a great event. So something to think about. But yeah, I love the water parks. And I love what Shannon said. And
So I would say, yeah, the same thing is that it was a surprise to me how much I enjoyed it. I didn't go for a while. My daughter wanted to go. We went back, and I was like, why don't I do this more often? And I think the challenge is that I always want to be in the parks from rope drop till closing. Shannon made a great point, though, is go early in the day, spend a little time there, and then go spend the rest of your day over in the theme parks. But, we definitely want to hear what you guys think. Leave us some comments below the video and tell us your thoughts on Orlando water parks and anything we might have missed thinking about or talking about. But hopefully we covered everything to help you make an informed decision about your vacation time, because it's very precious, the amount of vacation time you have. Not everybody gets to live the dream and live inside of EPCOT like Peter Carney. So yeah. And
just to reemphasize both you said, early morning. It rains every afternoon here, especially during water park season. So get there if the park opens at 10, get there at 9:30, 9:15, and enjoy it until it rains hard. But this is so much fun. Sorry. That was great advice.
No. I Pete, love to have you back as soon as humanly possible. It sounds like you got a bajillion things going on, but thank you for being here, Shannon. Thanks for being on here. Thank you guys for being watching, spending your Sunday night with us. And again, shout out to the pack. And we appreciate you guys. Have a great week. Hopefully we'll see you Wednesday night. Maybe we'll see you, maybe come back to parkadventuresclub.com and catch some other stuff. But we love having you here, and have a safe and great week. And don't forget, adventure is out there, folks. Have a great one.